good to see you. You get fairy dust, I get fairy dust, Amelie gets fairy dust. Okay. Let's talk about the people in our family who are compromised. Like, you may be okay, but you also may be compromised. But let's just talk about it in the sense of a family member is compromised. And I want you to know, like, that's really scary. That's really fucking scary. Like, scary, scary. So, again, I want you to get very, 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 very clear on what you can control and what you don't have control over. And so, you know, in times like these, this is when we rely on our spiritual strength, whatever that looks like. I'll think of something to say for atheist and agnostic. Actually, I'm thinking of something right now, but just like, okay, let's just do spirituality. So whatever your belief system is, like, go for it. Like, fully engage, fully, you know, hope, faith, like all that, fully engage, like get yourself plugged into your spiritual support and what you believe about all of that, and, you know, putting your hands and putting your family in the hands of a higher power as you understand that higher power. And that, you know, sometimes all we can do is pray. Like, sometimes that is all we can do. What if they don't live with you? Or what if, you know, again, like, you're powerless over these germs. We're all powerless over these germs or whatever, and the virus itself. And so, you know, it really, it's times like these that test us, like test our values. Like, do we actually believe what we say when we say, you know, I trust God or whatever? Do we actually believe that? Or is it like, well, I trust God with everything but not my parents? So it's time for us to really get clear and reconnected with what we actually believe. For those of you who are agnostic, so if you're agnostic, you have some kind of belief about something. And so that can be, you know, obviously whatever you have figured that out to be, but it's still, you know, as the way I understand it, agnostic is, you know, there's something bigger than you, but you don't know what that is. And that's very fair. And, you know, some would say more accurate, but, but you're going to rely on your experience of feeling those things. Like, I know that I used to go to a 12-step program, and there were a lot of people who, you know, it's your higher power as you understand your higher power. And so, you get to, yeah, but whatever those are, like, here's the thing, like, isn't this the payoff of having a religion? Like, isn't this where, you know, isn't this our day? Like, like, this is where we get our prizes from all of that work that we do the other times, that we just get to, like, I know it's going to be okay. Like, no matter what happens, I know it's going to be okay. So yeah, so you have to check yourself to make sure that you're aligned with the stuff that you say every Sunday or whatever, just to, you know, because you get, this is the time where you can lean into that and get support from that. Okay, let's talk about atheists. You probably have, like, let me talk about something about one time one of my atheist friends in 12-step program offered, or maybe it was in a reading or whatever, but so in the 12-step program, a higher power, as you understand that higher power, okay? And then, you know, so then the atheist comes and it's like, that doesn't resonate for me at all. But one thing that did resonate was that the group itself was a higher power. The addict who is still, an addict who is sober for one day is a higher power than me, the atheist, who is still using. So that's kind of what they would do. Like, some of my friends, that they would do, they would lean into the power of, you know, these programs have gotten people sober and in recovery, and they have worked for some people. You also have, so it's, you if you have science as something that you believe in and honor and worship, you know, it's just like, well, I got to trust the scientists. I got to trust the science. I got to, you know, but also maybe trusting the goodness in people or whatever. But you have something. You have something. And so maybe it's time to define what that is if your anxiety is making you crazy. Like, you know, otherwise you don't really need to do that. Or, you know, whatever you usually do, how you do that, you can employ. But we get to, that is what's part of our support system, our religion, our spirituality. Like, that's part of it, and we want to key into it. But yeah, it's very difficult when people that we love are compromised. They're definitely compromised. And this is when, you know, sometimes we have to be real clear with ourselves that, you know, good things happen and bad things happen. Okay things happen, extremely difficult things happen. And it's just, it's just a lot of discomfort. It's just a lot of discomfort. And it's very, very unnerving and scary. And so that also requires you to do more self-care for yourself, and the focus we want to be on problem solving. What's the problem and what's the problem and what needs to be solved? The other thing I want to say is, one of the things that gets us through times like this, again, speaking as an addict, I have a lot of tools from that world. What's the next right thing? What's the next right thing? Okay, great. My people are compromised. What's the next right thing? Well, I'm going to go over their house and Clorox the shit out of everything. What's the next right thing? I'm going to really let them know the impact of their behavior has on me. Like, guys, like, please stop going out. I will get your fucking groceries. Like, please, I love you. So let me take care of that. Let me take that off you or whatever. And so it's what problem needs to be solved. And it's, you know, again, this is advanced. Like, this is, you know, most people are already unconscious, falling back into their patterns. And I may be as very soon as well. But so write that down. What's the next right thing? What is the next right thing? And then do that thing. And then right after that, you get to ask it again. Because here's the thing about the next right thing is you actually know what it is. Your inner guidance, your hunches, your, you know, intuition, we all have access to inner guidance about what is the next right thing. And what's so cool, at any given moment, you can ask it and it will answer. Meaning, like, what's the next right thing? And what's the next right thing is to wrap this up for me, is to wrap this up because I'm at 8 minutes and 29, and it's to wipe my nose with my sleeve instead of my hands. What's the next right thing after that? I don't know. Say some more shit about the next right thing. And then, but it's always going to be there. It will always be there. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the next, like, what's the next right thing? You know, in my therapy sessions, what's the next right thing after we, you know, make our appointment for the next thing? The next right thing was for them to leave. They're going to get outside. What's the next right thing for them to do? Is it go get a coffee? Is it go get in their car? Then you do that next right thing. So it's about bringing things to the present moment as possible. And that's also a mindfulness meditation. Like, what's the next right thing? You're in this fucking moment. You're in this fucking moment, not those fucking moments, not the future and not the past, but this one. What's this one, and what's the next right thing? I hope that was helpful. It is so helpful to me when things are just too much to deal with. Love you. Bye.